friends, thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Also, check us out on Discord and Reddit and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Let's get right into Winnipeg Blue Bomber talk, brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, the field, or in the stands with a custom airbrush helmet, goalie mask, or project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And you know what? Don't forget to tell them that Ray and Benny sent you.
What did you find most encouraging from that Argos game?
Nothing. No, just kidding. I guess defense, like the defense. The defense was great. I mean, you allowed what, 6 points, right? What was the final? 16? No. What did they allow? 9 points.
Six.
They allowed, yeah. So they allowed 9 points, right? So 3 field goals, one of them in overtime to lose the game. But yeah, they allowed only 205 yards of a total offense. And Red Hat Cramdy was pretty damn good in that game as well. 8 tackles, tackle for a loss, and 2 sacks. So I can't blame the D. They went all out. They played their asses off to try and win this game. And to me, a lot of the players on that D stood out and played well enough to help this team win this game. So if we're gonna look at anything that's good at this that's happening for the Bombers over the last 2 weeks, the defense has played pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to focus specifically on Reda Cramdy. I kind of mentioned him last week and kind of wanted to see him at safety, and it was really fun watching the Bombers move him around like a chess piece, kind of like Troy Polamalu. You saw him midfield deep, you saw him deep, you saw him Sam side, you saw him middle side. I really like how they're using him and how Jordan Younger and Richie Hall have figured out how to use him. He's going to be a great defender for years to come, and doesn't hurt that he's Canadian. It was also great to see two linebackers, Cramdy and Big Hill, number 1 and 2 in tackles on the game. Big Hill was all over the field, and he definitely proved his doubters wrong in this game. So keep that going. So yeah, I was really encouraged by that linebacker play.
Yeah.
So yeah, encouraged.
Yeah. Big stop by Big Hill on 3rd and 1 there late in the game as well to give the Bombers offense another opportunity, which I believe that's the one they scored the touchdown right after that. So yeah, D altogether, the DBs, Tre Ford. And the unfortunate things for these guys is unfortunately they couldn't just cause a turnover of their own besides that 3rd and 1 stop, right? Winnipeg ended up with 5 turnovers on offense in this game, so it would have been nice if the D could have done that, but I can't blame the D at all here because they played their asses off. 2 weeks in a row, they have given this team a chance to win.
More, yeah. What's the biggest concern coming from the Argos game? Talking about turnovers.
Yeah.
O-line for me. O-line played as horrible as you can play, and they didn't hold on to the ball, especially in scoring position. I think 3 turnovers within scoring position, 19 turnovers all together this year. That's 5 ahead of Ottawa. And I get it. They have a game in hand, but still, that's way too damn much. Y'all got to protect the ball, and that's basic football. That's basic football on a veteran team. That's ridiculous. So turnover is big time for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the veterans that are causing the turnovers, right? We've watched Collaros throw bad interceptions. Dembski now 2 weeks in a row in scoring range fumbles. Oliveira in scoring range fumbles. Wolotarski took a big hit, but he's in scoring range and he fumbled. And then that 3rd and 1 where they tried the late in the game instead of kicking the field goal, that's another turnover in scoring range. So there's 4 field goal attempts you've basically taken off the board. And Castillo wasn't hot that night anyway, so who knows what would have happened. But yeah, the O line is the next one. Patrick Neufeld struggled. Tui Eli struggled. Like Jake Serezna was on fire and he dominated. And I saw it somewhere and I can't remember, but Chris Jones, they said the tweet I think believes that Chris Jones should have been fired for this trade alone. I don't know why you're trading this guy for what was it, Curly Gittens. Terrible trade there, but yeah, he dominated that Bomber O line, and that Bomber O line has been in trouble here for 2 weeks in a row.
Specifically in the middle.
Yes, yes.
What did
But
Bombers?
Lofton hasn't done a great job himself. So
I didn't find him bad last game. I
yeah,
found him and Stanley very capable last game. That gut just got abused.
oh
And it
yeah, they
shows
did.
with Serezna. He's a defensive tackle and he went nuts on the middle and didn't even have to stunt the guy. Ugh, horrible. What do the Bombers need to do to turn this season around? They need to find some talent to play in the middle of that O line is what they need to do. Like find those NFL cuts and fix that middle of the line. Like I'm sorry. Like has Patrick Neufeld, is he feeling father time this week? Like that was bad. So they need to find a new middle of that O line somehow, some way.
Yeah, and he ended up injured in that game, so we'll see what happens with him. But you got guys on O line. Either that, or you got to see if Jeff Gray's coming back. I mean, he wasn't that bad, kind of thing, right? or you're trying new guys and seeing what other guys can do there to help that O-line out. Because yeah, it's been rough, but they really, I mean, they're not good enough to have 5 turnovers and win games anymore. You
No.
know, they were good in seasons past, the turnover. You go back to the Saskatchewan game in the playoffs where how many turnovers there, but they were good enough to come back and win. They're not there anymore. So they really need to stop shooting themselves in the foot. And a lot of it is veteran guys. Like I said, Oliveira, Dembski 2 weeks in a row. Especially with Lawler out, Dalton Schoen out, Dempsey's got to step up and be that guy. And right now, I don't know if it's lack of focus or what's happening with these guys when they're pounding that ball down. But they're just losing it.
They're trying to make a play. They're trying to make a play and they're not focused on keeping the ball in their hands. It's not an excuse. It's what they're doing.
But they're
They're not
making the
being
play.
careful with the ball. They're trying to make those extra yards and then they get it stripped and popped out.
Yeah, but that's that for a veteran team and
Jeez.
those veteran guys. I mean, that's terrible. Like you can't be doing that at this point in the season, especially when your team is struggling to put points up on the board. You know,
Of course
it's
they
just
can't do that.
wasted
Of course they
opportunities
can't
here
do
for
that.
these guys.
And I don't know why they're not using the heavy set as a staple. I'm going to start pining for that son of a gun formation again. They use it here and there. They went with a 7 O-line man front one time, and they got 7-8 yards on a run. And then they use a 6-man front, and then Zach threw the ball away on a fade. It's just run the ball, run the power game. Like, why are they shying away from that heavy set and not passing it to guys open in the middle of the field when they do have the heavy set open? It just makes no sense. It's such a good formation for this team who has an offensive line that's struggling. Like, don't use it for fun. Use it as your staple.
Well, yeah, but so the question is, where's the accountability of these guys? You had Brady Oliveira was at 13 rushes for 96 yards. That's a pretty good clip.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he get to 20 rushes? And Zach Collaros played a good game. I'm not blaming him anything for this game because he was 25 and 32, over 300 yards. That interception was, yeah, could have been pass interference, wasn't, but it wasn't on him kind of thing. So, but you had a good running game, and the running game was going good. And I know Oliveira fumbled, but let the guy eat a little bit more and focus on that run, especially late in the game. You know, Toronto was having a hard time stopping that. So it's just disappointing again in that department as well, where the play calling kind of falters at certain times in this game or in their game.
Do you think that was a pass interference on Dembski?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he looked like he was all over him. It's hard to tell enough from the replay if he's not touching him, but he looked pretty close to being on top of him. But the way the CFL has been calling stuff this year, I guess it could go either way.
Yeah, I thought that was a perfectly fine no call. Like, the guy's allowed to play defense. Dembski could have made the catch. He didn't impede his arms or his body towards the ball. It was a great defensive play. He was right on him. That's what they call blanket coverage.
So
I'm glad
what's
the
up with
referee
that?
called that.
So what's up with Dembski then this year? If he had an opportunity to catch that, he's fumbled 2 weeks in a row. Is he starting to get caught up by father time? And he's not even that old yet, really.
Yeah, like I said, I think his fumbles, he's just trying for extra yards, trying to make a play to wake the team up. In regards to that play, that was just a great defensive play. Like he didn't impede it, but at the same time, Nick Dembski was ready for that ball, and the defender just made a better play. Any other concerns from the Argos game?
Yeah, I mean, most of mine is on, like we talked about, on offense, and obviously Castillo, who has been pretty sure from inside 50 this year, struggled to hit those two, plus that 3rd and 1 late in the game. It's just, I know you can go back and question it and be like, just kick the field goal and take the lead because your D is playing well, right? And it only gives Toronto, 50 something seconds to try and get into field goal range, which they would struggle to do. I get the 3rd and 1 sneak, but unfortunately the execution on that and maybe the spot of the ball wasn't great, but the execution failed them.
Yeah. And can they stop using Strevler strictly as a backup and short yardage? What is going on? Great. Collaros, 78%, which we saw coming. Toronto has given up the best completion percentage against quarterbacks. I talked about that last week. 78, that's no surprise. 300 yards, that's great. But I don't find much solace in that performance. I really don't. Like, that running game and power running game is being neglected just to put Collaros on the field sometimes. Like, even coming out of concussion protocol, Strevler had a nice pass to the flats on the line of scrimmage to Ontario Smith. They seem to do that a lot more when Strevler's in because, he can't throw far, so they're going to give him all these short passes. Do that with Collaros more. And then he got the first down on the short, and then they pull him out for some reason. It doesn't make sense. Use Chris Strevler more. He's not a backup quarterback by the salary you're giving him. So
Well,
that's another thing they got to do to turn the season around. Use him more.
they also had I believe it was 2nd and 2, and they had Strebler in, and he was in the shotgun, I believe. And then he tried to run it, and he got stopped. It's like, okay, this is what you're dialing up on 3rd and 2 with Strebler in, or 2nd and 2 with Strebler in there. Attempt to pass. Really, I mean, if you want him for just short yardage, he could have ran twice for probably 2 yards, right? And got the first down. I don't know why
Yeah.
you're getting cute and putting him in the shotgun and then having him try to run through it. So
Well, was
yeah,
Brady Oliveira in the backfield with him?
I can't remember this
That's the
play.
only way he should be
Probably
in
he would
shotgun was
probably
running
would
the
be.
ball. If you don't throw that RPO option and maybe put it in Oliveira's gut and pull it out and then go on the other side, that's great. But if he's running straight off shotgun into the line of scrimmage, that's ridiculous. That
And I'm
makes no
pretty
sense.
sure, from my memory, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was not a fake handoff, any RPO or anything like that. He just tried to run straight up, and I don't even think he got a yard.
Of course. Sorry for hearing a lot of binging. For some reason, my computer is binging, getting a lot of messages. People are like, calm down talking about the Bombers.
Chill, bro.
Anything else we got to talk about for the Bombers to turn the season around?
Well, they're gonna have to get better coaching all around. Even I think we're gonna touch on this a little bit later, but maybe it's time to just bring it up now with Mike O'Shea. And his challenges this year have been off the mark. His decision making on some plays is just questionable. I haven't seen much accountability, and you've talked about this before, where the coaching staff is like, "We're a veteran team. We know what we can do. We can turn things around. We're going to do this." But right now, I think it's time. There has to be some kind of accountability for these guys. And I know the vets have done a lot over the last 4 years, but if they're not playing well or causing mistakes, and maybe it's time to sit them and try somebody else or try
I
something
don't.
else.
Yeah, I don't know who you're sitting. I don't know who you're bringing in. That roster is thin. Like, what vets are we sitting? The ones in the middle of the offensive line?
Well, yeah, if you got to make changes there to see what you can do. You got Lucky Whitehead sitting on the bench that you still haven't brought in here after what, 3, 4 weeks. It's time to maybe start looking around and seeing what else here, coaching wise. If someone's like you've talked about before, Lapo, if Lapo needs to come in and help Buck Pierce out, bring him in. I'm not saying fire anybody because obviously these guys have done a lot, and this is the first turmoil they've had in the last few years, but something's got to be figured out here because they continue to make the same mistakes over and over every week. And you had two variable winnable games in the last 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks are going to be tough.
Yeah.
So, you needed to win at least one of these two and possibly both of them that just happened. But unfortunately, they couldn't get it done and they're just shooting themselves in the foot again.
Yeah, I'm definitely not holding that 3rd and 1 call against Mike O'Shea. That's fine with me. You made 18 in a row, and you're right there, and it was a bad spot. I have the picture. He's clearly over the line. It's nonsense. And they looked it up at CFL Control Center. What are you guys doing in Control Center that you can't see the ball is over the line? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm yelling into this thing now.
that goes back to the interesting CFL officiating so far this
You gotta be
year.
kidding me. So I do not hold that against Michael Shea at
I
all.
don't hold it
He was
against
trying to
them,
change the
but
pace of the season. He was going for the win. He was trying to send that message, go get it. They should have gotten it a lot easier than the struggle that they had, but they had it anyways.
but yeah, you're still making 5 turnovers in this game as a team and stuff, right?
That's
Um,
not a coaching thing.
but again, you know what? The way things have gone this season and the mistakes and the bad luck that's happened, and I know he could have easily missed a field goal on that 3rd and 1, considering what he missed later on in the game. But I think you almost have to take the 3 points there and let your defense work.
You're 18-0. You've made 18 in a row on 3rd and 1. Why would you
Yeah,
doubt that?
because at some point, there's going to be an 18-1, right? I mean, look what happened to the New England Patriots. They had won 18 in a row until
And
that
how many
last
did
one.
Castillo? How many Castillo field goals did he make in a row? And he was horrible this game.
Well, that's what I
So I
said.
say you go for the messages. You're trying to change this season. You're trying to send a
You
message.
need to
I
get the
say
win, though.
absolutely go for that 3-1. Go for the win because you get to milk the clock and you go for the field goal. That's
Oh,
when
I
you go
get
for the
it.
field goal.
I
So
get
they
it.
had that opportunity. I like it. I'm
I
not
get
going to
it, but
hold
it didn't
against you.
work. So now you're going to get criticized for the fact that it didn't work. And you need a win. You
Yeah,
need the win
hindsight is
first and
2020.
foremost.
It's so
Oh,
easy
it is
hindsight
for
2020 on
sure.
that
I
call.
would, you know what? Even at the time when they had decided to kick it, I was not happy for, or go for it. I was not happy for it. I'd rather have seen the field goal in that position.
I thought they were going to get 100%. It's unbelievable. And they got it. And again, they got it.
Yeah,
I'll
but
send you
then
the picture that I have. It's
no,
ridiculous.
I looked at it too, and I'm like I'm pretty sure he has that because I'm looking at the marker and where he got. But you put the ball or the fate in the referee's hands or the command center's hands, who have been a gong show so far this year, and that's what happens. It's almost like a
Well,
coin flip up there. Like I don't know what they're doing.
that's stupidity. I'll blame that on the league, not on O'Shea. We already talked about turning the season around. Shoot. What did the Bombers have to do to beat the BC Lions offense? You want to go first?
Yeah, on offense, just play a clean game. No more mistakes. You can't make mistakes against BC because they'll probably make you pay, especially on offense. So they're going to need Collaros to have a good game. They're going to need their receivers to hang on to that ball. If we saw 2 weeks ago, the BC's last game, Jake Mayer threw for over 300 yards. So if he can do it, you know what? Thanks, buddy. I gave my faith in you last week, and you repaid it, Jake Mayer, by sucking this week. But if Jake Mayer can do it, then the Bomber offense and Collaros should be able to, if they can protect him.
Yeah. Finish drives with TDs, for goodness gracious, and hold on to the ball. Like the Bombers lead the league in rushing attempts. They're third in the league in passing attempts. They're second in first downs. They're moving the ball. They're just not finishing with touchdowns in the
Right.
end zone. Like if they would convert some of these field goals into touchdowns, like weren't they inside the 5 early in the game and they couldn't get it done? Like,
And they kicked a field goal?
yeah,
Or
there you
did they go
go.
for it? What the heck?
No, they kicked a field goal.
That's
Many of
terrible.
the, yeah. And, like we talked about earlier, all those turnovers are inside the 30-yard line. They can't be doing that. Hold on to the ball and get touchdowns. On defense, I think they got to get pressure on Vernon Adams. You know, we talked about Calgary, and Calgary was able to get him with pressure. They only got one sack that game, but they were constantly in his face. The pocket was constantly collapsing around him, and he doesn't run out of the pocket as much as he used to. So, yeah, if they can get pressure on Vernon Adams, I think they can really slow down this BC offense.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe follow that blueprint of what Calgary was doing and kind of trying to mimic that because they kept them to under 200 yards, plus standback. They held them in check too. So, you know, the defense has played well over the last 2 weeks, but they've played some offensively challenged teams, right? Saskatchewan with their
For
backup
sure.
Shea Patterson, and then Cameron Dukes and Nick Arbuckle, right? So now you're gonna have a high-powered offense. Keon Hatcher is back as well this week, so I'm interested to see what they can do and to see if they're actually legit enough, the way they've played over the last 2 weeks, to see if they can shut down this BC offense.
Yeah, they've really been falling in love with the blitz lately. That's Cramdy got 2 sacks, I think, off the blitz. Uh, and they can't be doing that as much against BC. Vernon Adams is turning into a veteran. If you give him those easy passes, he'll take them.
Yeah.
So I'd say be careful on the blitz. How about special teams?
Yeah, Castillo needs to get back on that horse, and be back to being reliable for them. I know you talked about finishing drives for touchdowns instead of field goals. Yeah, I'm all with that for sure. But when you're not, Castillo needs to be that glue back there, that's going to put everything together. I'm going to give a shout out to the coverage team because we were all over them last year, and this year we were scared Jenner and Grant was going to take something back, but they held them in check and they did a great job. Continue doing what they're doing. Mike Miller's doing a decent job back there, in terms of the coverage team. Returns, hopefully we can get one. But yeah, coverage team has played well.
Coverage team is doing well, and I'm gonna hop on this because my special teams is close to that. Jameson Sheehan's got to continue to play like he did last game. Coverage did well, but he also did a really good job of keeping Janarian Grant near the sideline.
Yeah.
He angled a lot of kicks. He took a lot of yards away. Man, this thing beeping is really pissing me off more than the Bombers. They just got to take that away and keep the returners on the sidelines, and they'll be fine. I'm getting more faith in that special teams unit. If the Bombers had the opportunity to pick up Nathan Rourke this season, but they had to cut Collaros, would you do it?
Yes, I would. I would. And no disrespect or anything to Collaros, because guy's been awesome for the last 4 years for us. But Nathan Rourke seems like a generational talent, who can end up playing and be your quarterback for the next 10, maybe 15 years. I can't remember how old he is, but yeah, I would definitely do it.
They'd have to do it before Labor Day, I think, to get
Yeah.
Collaros' books. But he's getting a shot in Atlanta. I don't know if he'll stick. He's getting whatever an audition, whatever they
That's
call it.
It sounds like he's going to stick around down there until everything's completely dried up. So we may not see him back come this season
Absolutely,
anyway. So earliest would probably be next
absolutely.
year.
Would I do it? It's so hard with Collaros, but I think I would. He'd have to explore it. Absolutely. Like this guy was almost a generational talent when he played. He put up the
Yeah.
yards, he was mobile, and also he has a Canadian passport. This is like a franchise changing quarterback, possibly. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's huge.
What's going on with Lucky Whitehead? Well, as far as I know, he's learning the playbook and getting into game shape. Like he said it, the team has said it. That's what else? I can't assume anything else.
How out of shape can this guy be, though? I mean, it's been 3 weeks now that he's on the roster or on the practice roster. I
How
mean,
much
I
did he
don't.
play last year?
Hey,
How much did he play last year?
well, he was in at the end. He played the playoff game against Winnipeg, as far as I remember. So
He did not play very
Um,
much, and then he had a whole off season off, and he's not young.
I
Game
know,
shape
but
and being in shape are two very different things.
he's got to be better than the options they're trotting out there. Josh Johnson has not been very good.
He had six
Clement,
receptions last game.
yeah, they're all short yardage. I mean, how
Well,
many?
that they
What do you
needed
had?
it though.
He had
They
like
needed it.
22 yards, I think.
Yeah, but if he's that receiver, someone has to be. Someone has to be
Yeah,
the under.
I'd rather
And
see what Lucky
Lucky
White,
Whitehead's not going to be an under.
Kevin's Clericus, sorry, Claricius. Jeez,
Yeah,
uh, not doing much out there either.
he's Canadian though. He's
I
going to be
know.
hard. Yeah, it's got to be an American for an American almost.
Yeah, you just don't have a lot of veteran guys out there. Ontario Wilson obviously has been great. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's no way that guy's coming out. But Dembski, Wolotarski, I mean, maybe the time is now because Wolotarski ended up getting hurt. Who knows what happens there with him? But yeah, I'd like to see him in the lineup, maybe even returning kicks. I know Cody Case has done a bit better in terms of yardage and stuff, but
yeah,
yeah, I'd like to see something happen, especially that you're losing. If they were winning, I'd have no issues, but they're losing. You got to do
yeah.
something.
There's got to be a reason. Like, I don't think they're holding him out just for holding out sake. So there has to be a reason that he needs to get ready. Should the Bombers side Rasheed Bailey? Of course. They have two receivers left from the starting lineup, and one just got hurt. I don't think, hopefully not long term. Lawler was just put on the sixth game for a second time this season, and more proven leadership wouldn't be a bad thing for the Bombers. So, yes, of course.
Yeah, definitely bring him in because again, he was one of those hype guys that kind of we lost this offseason that seemed to have kind of hurt the team. So bring him in. He knows the playbook. His energy is contagious out there, and yeah, like I said, who would he end up taking out? Probably Josh Johnson kind of thing, right? So yeah, I look forward to it. And hopefully, it sounds promising enough. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess Bailey will probably wait and see what are his other options there. So I missed that. Kenny Lawler is back on another 6 game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He can come off anytime, but still, that's not the
Yeah.
best right now.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Okay, Bummer fans, put your comments down below and also don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Let's move on to quick shots. Should Tre Ford start next week? You go first.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, McLeod at the Thompson's had a decent CFL career, was pretty good over his last couple seasons in Toronto, but it's time. Tre Ford should have been starting probably from the beginning of the season. He did well. I know it was garbage time, but yeah, we got to see what he can do.
Yes, of course they got to put him in. And if it doesn't work, they can go back to McLeod Bethel Thompson. He's actually not one of the concerns on offense that I would have.
No.
Like Tre Ford did awesome, but also it was garbage time. The other team ain't coming hard. They don't want to get hurt. They had a huge lead in Hamilton. So, and he adds a lot to the playbook. So, yes, put him in with his athleticism and his ability to make plays, and you can go back to MBT. No problem. If you could pick any CFL offensive player to build a team around, who would it be? I'm going to be a homer. Brady Oliveira. Best offensive weapon I still feel in the league. He'll flirt with 1750, 2000 if he's used properly full time. A legit threat as a receiver out of the backfield. And he's just a bruiser coming downhill and just smacks the D line and linebackers. And by the third and fourth quarter, they don't want any more of it. So I'm going to go with Brady Oliveira.
That's a good one for sure. I'm going to go with Vernon Adams, who I think right now is probably the best quarterback in this league so far this season. We always like D lines and O lines, but I mean, one guy on the O line is probably not going to do enough to build a team there. But yeah, Vernon Adams to me because he's been dynamic, and when he's in the right situation, he can be very good.
Should the Jets explore a trade for Laine?
Yeah, why not? I mean, take a look, see what you would have to pay to possibly get him. I know Columbus would probably have to eat up some salary and see what they would hold on to, but yeah, I would definitely take a look into it if I was the Jets.
Absolutely. If Columbus can retain some of that salary, explore away. Wheeler and his influence are gone. His boy Ehlers is still here. Just go for it already. Thoughts on the drone gate with Canadian soccer program? What an embarrassment, but at the same time, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I don't care about that anymore. I'm over it.
Eddie Guerrero. Um, yeah, it's pretty disappointing, and I feel bad for the players, right? Because Christine Sinclair even came out and said it. She had no knowledge of this. She didn't know anything. She never seen any drone footage or anything like that. So it
Yeah.
sucks for them, right? And it sucks because they've gone off and won their first 2 games of the Olympics to defend their gold, but then they're getting questioned like that. So disgraceful from the coaches and the assistant staff, but I'm sure every team is probably doing something like this, anyways.
Is Tua worth his new contract?
Are any of these quarterbacks worth these contracts? Jordan Love started one season, he's making more. So right now, I'd say no. Guys still got a lot to prove. These guys are getting contracts like this without even winning a Super Bowl or playing in a Super Bowl.
No, as Charles Barkley would say, he's a bus rider, not a bus driver.
Driver.
He has some amazing athletes around him, which makes him a lethal, fast team, especially in the summer, especially when it's plus 35 in Miami. But when it comes late in the season and they need that run, I don't think he's the guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl. I don't think that's not wise to pay someone more than Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes when you don't know if he can win you a championship. Give me a break. Although
Dude,
Jackson and Allen are MVP players, not necessarily championship winners.
do teams even have a choice anymore right now? It's like if you're the next guy up, like there's already talk about Brock Purdy getting 60 next year. Like these teams don't have a choice. Like your guy's up, you got to sign him and you got to give him more than the last guy.
Of course, they have a choice:
Well, they have a
draft a
choice,
quarterback
but
later and give her. Look what they're doing
well,
with Purdy.
yes, but he's going to be
Quarterbacks are
up
coming
next
out of
year.
university so much more polished than they were back in the day, and they're so much more acclimated to pro style offenses coming out of college. Like it's almost worth thinking. Like look at the Steelers right now. Like their offense actually might be good this year, and they're paying minimal for quarterbacks. One for an old man, and one for a young guy. Still, who knows what's going on? Getting his chance now because Russell Wilson's hurt, by the way.
But question for you though, if Russell Wilson has a wicked year and helps, say, Pittsburgh make it far and all that stuff, he'll be up for a new contract. I mean, he's going to be wanting to get paid, probably not over the 50 million mark, obviously, because
Oh
he's on the
no,
downward spiral, but still probably in the 30 to 40 range, right? And it
no,
just,
I don't think necessarily. I think that he
uh,
took a big, huge discount to try to prove himself. I think he'll
yeah,
show his loyalty. By this time in his age, he's earned so much money. I think he's fine.
I don't,
If they win a Super Bowl, I think he'll stay for very cheap, without a
I
doubt.
don't think any of these guys show loyalty anymore, really. They want to get paid and they want to be always the top guy.
I don't think that'll happen with Russell Wilson. I might pray maybe that not might not happen. First, I'll pray for Steelers Super Bowl, but I think he's so far in his career. Like, why go to another team for an extra bit of money when you have all the money you can have right now, with a possible to repeat his championship? I think
Look,
that's more of his legacy now than the money.
look at Aaron Rodgers. He went to the Jets, still wanted more money
Oh,
or
but he had a problem
guaranteed
with the
stuff and all that
organization.
stuff. So
He had a problem with the organization. The organization was flirting getting rid of him.
no, I'm
So,
saying what even though he was out, he wanted to go to the Jets. He got to the Jets, and he still needed more money at that point from the Jets and guarantees and all that stuff, right? So
are we comparing Aaron Rodgers, Karen, to Russell Wilson?
no, I'm just saying there's
He's a
really no
special
loyalty.
case. We know
It's
that. He's special.
yes.
What are you taking? The over under 49% chance that Matt Ishbia brings the Coyotes back to the NHL in Phoenix.
I'm gonna say over. Because it sounds like he knows what would need to do to get this team back.
Yeah.
And he feels like Phoenix should be a four town or Arizona should be a four team town.
Yeah.
And I think Gary Bettman also wants to go back there badly to prove that he did not screw that up. So yeah, I think over.
That is the over because he has Uncle Barry in his corner, Uncle Gary in his corner. Pure and simple. Thoughts on the Oilers hiring Stan Bowman? It's bullshit.
Hmm.
This guy gave Brad Aldrich recommendations for job at Miami University and a high school in which students and children were assaulted. What the fuck is wrong with hockey right now? You're going to bring this guy back? That's your culture? Like this guy put young children in such a vulnerable situation. For what? Because he's trying to hide something? He's trying to hide a sexual abuser in the franchise he's working for? It's bullshit.
Yeah, I really can't add much more than that. I agree. Terrible. And again, by the NHL with this kind of stuff, not like the guy was any good, anyways, really making moves. He screwed up a lot. But the thing to me is like making that recommendation, you should know before you take any courses or try to better yourself that that is the wrong thing to do. And he did it. And we don't even know how many victims there are out there, right? Because a lot of people won't come forward, unfortunately, because they probably see it as look what happens. Stan Bowman still gets another job. And how long until Joe Quenneville? Is Joe Quenneville going to get hired in Edmonton if they start out slowly? Like, yeah, so terrible. Terrible by the Oilers. Unfortunate after their Stanley Cup run, terrible. And terrible by the NHL for allowing us back in.
I can say this one more time. He gave a job recommendation to a known sexual abuser to work in a high school,
Yeah.
and children were abused.
Yeah. Did you need a course to tell you that it was wrong? No. No, you don't.
This league is so aft. It's so aft. Benny, on a good note now, do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully this is the week the Bombers turn around. That's Thursday night at home. Should be a big game. Have a good week.
And CFL schedule makers, what's wrong with you? You're giving the Bombers whatever short week, and then BC's coming off of a bye. Like, this is a 9-team league, and you still can't figure it out. I thought we were leaving on a good note. All right. Well, in the meantime, in the between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Go Bombers. I think they will win this week. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.